Hey guys, today we're diving into a first time listen to Bad Bunny's Debí Tirar Más Fotos. I hope to God I pronounced that right, but that means I should have taken more photos. I'm not someone who usually listens to music in other languages just because my favorite part of listening to music is being able to like sing along to it, and that's kind of hard to do when I don't speak the language. That being said, Bad Bunny has been everywhere. He's nominated for Album of the Year at the Grammys, which by the time this comes out, he might have already won. Who knows? He's kind of the favorite. And then he's also performing at the Super Bowl halftime show. So in general, I'm just really excited to like finally tap in and get to root for him along with everybody else. Yeah, that's all I really got to say on this one. I'm really excited. We're gonna be using Genius for the lyrics just because Spotify really hasn't really rolled out like the translated lyrics yet. That would have made it a lot easier, but yeah, for today we're just using Genius. All right, without further ado, let's get into it. Track 1 is called NUEVAYoL. You get salsa to this, which is cool. I used to dance salsa in college. Ooh, oh yeah. Oh, this is so good. Man, I've been missing out. Sick, it's about New York. Okay, is this like a love letter to Puerto Rico and New York? King of Pop is valid though. Thank God for like the few English words that are throughout this. It helps me like find where we are in the lyrics. See, I don't think you can salsa to it anymore. This might be like too fast. Oh no, actually, probably so good. Oh my God, I'm loving the production. Oh, they have like the effect on his voice, slowly turning it up. Wow. All right. That was NUEVAYoL. It was the opener. It was a fantastic opener in my opinion. I feel like it's like, it works really well to kind of get you into the exact energy you need to be in. I wasn't expecting it to open up that way, but it was so cool. Immediately references to New York and to Puerto Rico. I love that it started off with like, I think it was like a sample of a salsa song. But yeah, I immediately recognized the salsa like signature, you know what I mean? Just because I again, like I said, I used to dance salsa in college. But yeah, it's cool. We're kind of vibing at the intersection of Puerto Rico and New York right now. That's super sick. Very, very home feeling, which was cool. Yeah, fantastic opener. Let's get into the next track. Track 2, I don't know how to pronounce this. Voy a llevarte pa PR? Puerto Rico, I assume. PR is Puerto Rico. I'm telling you, because Spanish. I can't speak Spanish. So this is gonna be rough. Just bear with me. But yeah, let's get into track 2.
Yo la conocí en Miami, en Brickell. Ella sabe que aquí hay ticket. Quiere que yo se la aplique. Que pa' casa la trafique. Voy a llevarte pa' PR, mami, pa' que veas cómo es que se perrea. Tráete tu
Thank God for the AA. I keep getting lost in the lyrics. They're like classic reggaeton though. Reggaeton? Is that how you pronounce it? Oh, hey! Cool reference. Very like nightclub. Or nightlife, sorry. Very like nightlife themed. Oh, the production is so good. The like the arpeggiating like synth thing, or synth thing, so sick. Damn. I appreciate that this is very like, I've said this already, but it's very like Puerto Rico appreciation, which especially with everything that's going on in the world right now, that's especially important. You know what I mean? For people to kind of be loud and proud about where they're coming from. Ooh, he's high. He's up there. And he's just like staying up there too. I wonder what his range is. Ooh, is this gonna transition? Oh, it did transition. I didn't even notice. Holy crap, that was good. All right, that was Voy a Llevarte pa Puerto Rico, which means I'm gonna take you to Puerto Rico. Yeah, that was a great song. Very nightlife oriented. It was classic reggaeton. Fantastic, like to move to, even though if the lyrics were kind of above my head or over my head. But yeah, like I said, it's very Puerto Rico influenced, and I think that's especially important right now. I mean, the thing is, here's the thing, right? Puerto Rico is part of the U.S., right? But I feel like with everything that's happening in the world right now, with so much like anti-immigration, so much like xenophobia, and again, I say that knowing that Puerto Rico is part of the U.S., but people not knowing that are still directing that kind of vitriol towards the people of Puerto Rico. So having an artist like Bad Bunny be like so like to formulate an entire album that's specifically about appreciating where he's coming from, it is so important. It's about home. You know what I mean? I'm thinking that's going to be like the general theme of the album. At least I hope it is. But yeah, making an album like this that's about home, it's doubly beautiful because it appreciates where you come from, and it's patriotic, which is exactly what we need right now. Even if America isn't exactly a place that we can be super proud of right now, this kind of album is like incredibly important. So even though it's like, again, it's the kind of song where I wouldn't necessarily be able to sing to it, but it's a song that's great to move to. It's in like the lyrics themselves are completely like enriched with culture. It's like, nothing more to say on that. I think it's a fantastic song. But yeah, let's move to the next song. BAILE. I cannot pronounce these to save my life. So I'm gonna have the track shown right here as I always do, but I'm excited to get into it. It's a longer track. It's like 6 minutes. I think I've also like heard the title of this one. This might have been like a really big hit or a single. Mind you, anything Bad Bunny puts out ends up being a hit. But yeah, let's get into it. Track 3. And it like transitioned, which was cool.
Y solamente verte en el atardecer. Si me van sola y triste no me hablan. Si me ven sola y triste soy culpable. La vida es una fiesta que un día termina. Y fuiste tú mi baile inolvidable.
This is very like The Weeknd coded in my opinion. It feels, other than the horns, I guess, it's very The Weeknd coded. Yeah, you get what I'm saying. Beautiful. There we go. Oh, it's salsa again. Oh, hell yeah. This is more wistful than I expected. And it's more wistful than I would have known if I'd heard this song. You know, I was gonna say, I don't think that I'd ever heard Bad Bunny put out like a sadder song, but this matches that. Wait, is this about Puerto Rico? Hold on. Very interesting. Okay, it is like about a relationship, but I honestly, for the first like verse and chorus and stuff, I thought this would have been about Puerto Rico. You know, you taught me how to love, you taught me how to dance. Yeah, now it's like very clearly about a relationship, but at the beginning, that's what it felt like. Again, it's like I keep getting thrown by the production on this one. Telling you, man, this makes me want to go salsa dancing. I haven't been in so long, but I need to get back into it. Wow. The horns in isolation is so cool. Alright, that was track 3, BAILE INoLVIDABLE. I'm going to say this every time, pronouncing these horrendously, but you're just going to have to bear with me on that. I'm doing my best here. Yeah, that was a longer track. That was 6 minutes. Super salsa inspired. I think it was salsa all the way through. I mean, it was very danceable, but I've always wondered what it would be like for Bad Bunny to have a song that is more like... It's not just a... Because everything I've heard from him, to me, it's always felt like a club track. It's felt like, it's been reggaeton. That's what it's felt like to me. So I've always wondered what it would sound like for Bad Bunny to... Or like to hear a Bad Bunny song that is more wistful in nature, that is more... That like goes a little bit deeper, and I think this absolutely did that. I thought this was really beautiful. It was very danceable, but it was still like very musically oriented. It was very, very complicated in its production, which I loved, and it was quite deep. So I thought that was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. And it's paced incredibly well, because this was a 6-minute song, and it certainly did not feel like 6 minutes. Like I didn't feel like it was dragging at any point. So that was fantastic. Let's go into the next track, which is track 4. It's called PERFuMITO NUEVO. New perfume, I assume? Is that what that means? New perfume? God knows. Oh, it is new perfume. I'm multilingual. What can I say? No, I'm kidding. I am multilingual, but not in Spanish. Anyways, let's get into track 4. Oh, and this is featuring Rico. It's like more synth forward. Ooh. Oh. Oh, this is gorgeous. This one's like a lot more like modern, and it's very like pop influenced, which is cool. Wow. See, like, reading these lyrics, I'm wondering how often Spanish lyricism goes overlooked. Or like music from different languages in general. You know, I don't know that there's been a Spanish-speaking album that's made Album of the Year. But reading these, I feel like these lyrics, even knowing that there's probably something lost to translation there, these lyrics are still so incredibly well done. I'm like wondering how often does you know, the lyricism specifically get overlooked. I'm not saying that Latin music is like an underground genre. It's like so underrated because it's like one of the biggest genres in the world. But I mean specifically, hold on, I need to shut up, don't I? Is this over? No, it's still going. Okay, thank God. Wow. He loves his changes in production. Yeah, like I was saying, I wonder how, like, I feel like it just goes overlooked, the actual substance, you know? At least I was overlooking it. I think I'm more projectoring here. That was track 4, PERFuMITO NUEVO, featuring Rico. I think I'm pronouncing all of that incorrectly, including the singer's name. But yeah, it was fantastic. It was a collab. It was very energetic. It felt a lot more modern and pop influenced. You had those synths. Again, it sounded like very much The Weeknd to me. That's the only sort of like, that's the closest connection I can make with it. But like I was saying, it's it does make me wonder about like reading these lyrics, even knowing that so much of the lyricism, like, you know, there's stuff that's going to be lost to translation. That's just how it goes with translating between languages. But I wonder just like how much do we overlook the lyricism? How, you know, is that something that Bad Bunny or any of these artists really do? They get the credit they deserve for that? Because when people talk about the greatest songwriters, the greatest songwriters of the of like this generation, or just even just great songwriters in general, whenever people highlight good songwriting in the industry, I don't know that I see Latin pop represented like ever. I think it's just Bad Bunny and Rosalia who have really been able to sort of break through that with their popularity, where then, because they're so popular, I feel like then people are willing to give it a look. And I again, this could all be projecting, right? Because this is exactly how I came to even listen to this album. I'm not someone who listens to Latin music in general because, you know, I like being able to sing along to it. But yeah, I don't know. It's just made me think a little bit more about that, which I appreciate. You know, that's something I'm thankful for. So yeah. Anyways, let's move on to track 5, which is called WELTiTA, featuring Chewy. Yeah. Let's get into it. What's that like? I know what instrument that is. It's the thing with the ridges. I don't know if I've heard one in music though, like popular music like this. Oh, I like the vibes of this one. It's like a little bit more chill. I think this is more my speed. Thank God for the and I keep losing the lyrics. Does it have to be a kiss from a skinny girl? She can't have a little bit more on her? So far, this is a nice break from the reggaeton heavy, like, first half, you know? First half. There's 17 tracks in this album. It's not halfway. We're not even a third of the way through. Ooh. which is the name of like a town or something. Oh, so they're singing about the beach, basically. I'm loving how like all of his verses, even from the guests, are so like themed. They're so incredibly well themed. There's the nightlife song. This is like the beach song. You know, like I love that. Great. Okay, that was WELTiTA featuring Chewy. She killed it. He killed it. This was unexpected. This was fun. It gave me a little bit of a break from the more like harder hitting like reggaeton songs, which I really appreciated. The beach theme was so cool. But yeah, this was like a little it was like a little love song, you know, which I thought was cool. It was very sweet, and I loved that it was so like all the lyricism was so themed. So I thought that was fantastic. Yeah, let's keep going. We got a lot to get through. Track 6 is called VeLDÁ. It's got 2 features on it, Debí and Omar Courtz. Yeah, let's get into it. Ooh. Alright, see, we're back into it. Yeah. Oh, this is like a... Okay. Hornier track.
Al otro día me pusiste en los CLúB. Yo sé lo que tú quieres, mana, voy pa'l bien. De espalda de lado o de frente. En todas las fotitos se ve bien. Mami, te lo doy ahora y después también. Tuve un story cerca y que le llego a pie. Como si supiera.
Bad Bunny hasn't been in this song at all yet, has he? Yeah, he hasn't. I'm like waiting for him to come in. There he is. Hey, he's back. I have no idea where we are in the lyrics. I lost it. I think we're over here. Oh, there we go. Oh, I love when they shout out their collaborators in the song, you know? This is like a true collaboration. This isn't like a feature. This is like a real like... You know what I mean? Because there's so many features where it's like... And I'm not talking about Bad Bunny, I'm talking about in general. It'll be a feature, but it's just the main artist for the entire time, and then there's like 4 to 8 bars. This is like a true collaboration. I'm surprised that Omar and Debí aren't like lead artists on this, you know? Like, why is it featuring versus Bad Bunny with, etc., etc.? Oh shit, he's going fast.
Bad Bunny, Debí, Omar Courtz. Tú sabes, los ídolos tuyos. Seguramente te estás preguntando cómo lo hacen. Tienen que apretar. Cerrar los ojos y piénsame. Yo estoy bebiendo y también quemé. Ella quiere un mensaje que diga ven. Yo me paso mirando ese culito en internet.
All right. That was VeLDÁ? VeLDÁ, I think? Ooh, I don't know. Yeah, this was another collab. I appreciated that it was a true collaboration. Debí and Omar Courtz honestly were like the first half of the song without Bad Bunny. If anything, Bad Bunny almost felt like a feature on this one because he was on like one verse and chorus. So I appreciate that this was truly, it's very clear that this wasn't a song Bad Bunny made and then he just needed a feature that you need to slap on it and then go, which happens so often and it's so lazy and you can tell when it's lazy. Not to shade, but immediately the one that comes to mind for me is like the Die For You remix by The Weeknd featuring Ariana. That song feels so lazy because Ariana's just like thrown on there and then she's just like on one chorus and then it's done. You know what I mean? It feels like an afterthought. And I think in this case, it was quite the opposite. This was from the beginning a collaboration. Beyond that, this was good for like, you know, head bopping and stuff, but I don't think this song was for me. Lyrically, it did nothing for me. And I think I'm just a little bit too mellow for like fast-paced music. So I think for me, it was just, there wasn't anything for me to really be there for, you know? That's how I'm feeling. It also didn't really feel like as inspired as some of the other previous songs. The previous songs have felt super inspired in their sound and in their lyricism. And I don't think that this one really felt that way. That's just my personal opinion. But yeah, not my favorite so far. Anyways, let's get into the next song. Let's get into track 7, which is CLúB. I'm assuming it's about the club. We'll find out. All right, let's get into track 7.
Yeah. 2 de la mañana en el club. Todo el mundo pasándola cabrón.
Oh shoot, I need to switch over.
La juca, la pastilla y un blon. La que yo quiera dice que sí. Bien loco cantando la canción. Después de aquí nos vamos pa'.
La canción. I've heard that.
¿Qué estará haciendo mía?
Oh, he's shouting out his own music. Hell yeah. What a flex.
¿Será que ya me superó? Y le va bien.
Who's his ex?
Mientras que yo, borracho, pienso que estará haciendo mía. Que hace tiempo por ahí no se ve. Estará haciendo, estará jangueando, estará.
Oh my god. Whoa, that's like a tempo change. Ooh, I love this. Ah. I have no idea where we are. I lost it. Hey. Here we are. Okay, thank God. We're here. I'm telling you, his like little ad-libs, it's like a lighthouse for me. Because I keep losing my way. Sadder song. Oh, this is so sad. I appreciate that it kind of slowed down. This is cool. I'm telling you, his production is fantastic. And it's so varied. It keeps it moving. Even if the songs are like longer, it keeps it moving. Damn. All right, wow. That was CLúB. Not what I was expecting, honestly. I thought that was going to be like a club track, and it was, but in a very different way. It was very much like the club is lonely without you. It was kind of sad boy hours. But, you know, again, he's showing great versatility, so I'm appreciating that. Yeah, sadder song, and I love that he mixed it up at the end where he kind of like stripped it back a little bit more, slowed it down. This in general, this was very like nighttime vibes, which I thought was cool. Very different sounding than what I've heard so far on this. But yeah, that was fantastic. I like that one. That's been like top 3 or 4 for me. I appreciated that one. Let's keep going. The next song, track 8, is called KETU TeCRÉ? KETU TeCRÉ? I don't. That's not even like. Oh, I think it's just the Genius like font. I was like, are those? Is that the same alphabet that I use? It didn't look like it, but I'm pretty sure it is. Anyways, KETU TeCRÉ. I have no idea what that means. Again, and I'm mispronouncing it. I'm very sorry. But yeah, let's get into it. It's gonna be a synthier one, it seems.
Yo ni sé nada, pa' que tú estés así conmigo.
Breakup track.
Que terminamos siendo enemigos. Baby, si asume, yo estaba dándote castigo. Siempre he sido a fuego contigo. Tú no eras así.
Ooh, the vocals. I want to hear him do that more. I feel like he sings it like one tone. I need him to be more like that. Be a little bit more. I need to see him flex more vocally. I need to see that. Oh. Is this really a Toy Story reference? That's crazy. I wasn't expecting a song like this. Damn, poor guy. He's down bad. That's what this entire song is. He's just down bad. Poor guy. This is cool. Huh, wow.
Anoche a las 2 te llamé y estás hecha una malcría. ¿Qué carajo tú te crees? Conmigo no, yo fui el que te enseñé. Yo fui el que te enseñé a aplicarla como.
Oh, I was expecting it to come back right there. It didn't. Oh, it's so like spacey. I love the production. Wow. There it is. The effects are cool. Did that transition like that? Hold on. Oh, that's so sick. Loving the transitions. Glad that he's doing that. Need to see that more. Awesome. Alright, so this was KETU TeCRÉ. Again, I'm pronouncing that wrong. But this was like kind of describing like a toxic relationship where he was kind of feeling like very betrayed and replaced by his partner who's kind of being mean to him, starting conversations just to pick fights, like and it's someone specifically who's like changed a lot, who's been influenced by the people around them, and then so like it's Bad Bunny kind of seeing that and kind of missing the person he used to know and the person he used to be with, but also like really being upset about like the way he's being treated. So yeah, that was a sadder song. It was, again, this felt a little bit more modern sounding. It wasn't necessarily grounded in any sort of influence from what I can tell. But lyrically, it was clearly very inspired and emotional for him. It's clear he's drawing from personal experience, which I appreciate. So yeah, great song. Let's go to the next track, which is called BOKeTE? God knows. Man, this is embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. Like, it's so embarrassing to be mispronouncing things. I'm not used to this. I'm not used to being the one who's mispronouncing something, you know? Ugh, it just makes me feel cringy, gross. Anyways, let's get into the next song, track 9, BOKeTE. Let's do it. Ooh, continuing like the slower, synthier night vibe. This is a good like nighttime album. Very good at nighttime album. This is nice. Okay, he's changing up his delivery. I'm in. Okay, I'm glad. This is what I wanted. You know what I mean? I feel like because I'd heard so few of his music, I'd always heard him kind of sounding the same in how he delivers, and I was feeling that way through the album for the most of it. There were like a little bit of like falsetto here and there, but now he's like diversifying. I love the backing vocals too. Ooh, that was sick. Oh. Ooh, see, he's delivering vocally. Hell yeah. Oh, this is like, yeah, lyrically, this is fantastic. Interesting, like, little interlude in the middle. Damn. Hell yeah! Okay, this is good energy. That's an interesting callback to his previous song, like the love song about the beach. Damn. He says heartbroken that many times? He's saying he's hardened, basically. I love the fact, okay, let's get into the song. I love the fact that the songs are just like bleeding into each other. I think that's so cool because then it makes it feel like it's actually telling a continuous story. So and it's also just so intentional on the production side. It's even if it's not like a super smooth transition where it felt like the song was going the entire time and you can't really feel where one starts and one ends. I don't even think that's necessary most of the time. In this case, it cuts off at the most perfect time and then starts the new one where you do have to kind of like watch yourself a little bit and be like, hold on, like, was that a new song? Like it kind of keeps you guessing. And I think that in itself shows a lot of really cool intentionality in the production, where they're very clear about how they wanted the songs to be ordered. This wasn't like they weren't shuffling the track list, you know what I mean? So I think that's fantastic. I think that's so interesting. This was also another emotional song, similar to the one previous to this, of sort of like about heartbreak between him and someone else. But in this case, he's talking from a more like hardened perspective, where it's kind of like the relationship's kind of grown like cold and a little bit like he's like not I think I've said it before already, but he's like more hardened now, you know. One thing I thought that was really interesting was him talking about, like, it was the bridge where he's kind of just talking and he's just like, you know, look, I've fallen in love like 515 times. This was just 516. I like being in love, but it's on to the next. Earlier before that, he was like, you know, your invitation to the beach has expired. Get out. Like, I thought that energy was great. You know what I mean? It was just, it's him kind of standing up for himself. It is a little bit sad to have to be so hardened. You know what I mean? But it's like he's done kind of like being dealt bad cards, bad relationships. And he's like, he doesn't have time for the energy, which is cool. It's great to hear that. So yeah, this was cool. Let's keep going. Let's go to track 10, which is called KLOuFRENS. They're really fucking with me here, man. This is hard. This is so hard. I just like, it's another reason, unfortunately I miss out for it, but it's another reason why it's tough to like listen to music in different languages, because if the title's in a different language and I can't even pronounce it, how do I reference it? You know? How do I reference it ever? Anyways, this is track 10 and it's called That. Let's get into it. All right, I came back to actually record track 11, which is KLOuFRENS. Yeah, I realized, so I skipped KLOuFRENS, and I realized that, and that's great. But then I just didn't go back and listen to the song. I don't know what I was thinking. So we're gonna do that now. Yeah, let's do it.
Si ya te vi sin ropa, poco hora de arte. Sé que prometí que
I like that synth that's underneath that. Nice.
me paso toqueándote pa' ver qué haces. Enchulado puede que se me pase, pero como quieres que me vaya bien. Si tú no me sacas de los close friends, me paso toqueándote pa' ver qué haces. Enchulado.
KLOuFRENS. Okay, so like close friends.
Si cuando estoy solo y prendo, lo que hago es pensarte. Pisao, ese tatito era bello, precioso, cute. Me dejaste enviciado, ey. Negra blondie, más tú eres la baby. Dando vueltas por las 11, escuchando a Davey. Oh, sí, todo lo mío es tuyo, si quieres te doy.
Did I already listen to this? I'm confused now. Because these lyrics feel so familiar. Oh, because I read them. You know what? That's what it is. This is like Instagram close friends, basically? Huh. Is Della Rose featured on this? Because she just had the one line, basically, right? Interesting. I've said this before, but I just never expected Bad Bunny to be like in his sad boy hours so often. All right, we finally did it. We listened to KLOuFRENS. Yeah, so KLOuFRENS is like, it's like close friends, so talking about like Instagram and stuff, basically. Like not really being with the girl he was with anymore, that separation that you see on social media as well. He like brings in multiple social medias as well. Like the stickers thing he mentions is something from like WhatsApp. So he's talking about like multiple different social medias. I love the idea of Bad Bunny using WhatsApp because in my head it's only like they see people who use WhatsApp, which obviously isn't true. It's like a very internationally used app. But for some reason in my head, that's the only thing it's used for. So I don't know. I just love the idea of Bad Bunny sending stickers in WhatsApp and then singing about how like he doesn't have any new stickers because she doesn't send him any anymore. I love that idea. That's great. But yeah, this one had a nice bounce to it. I appreciated that. I thought the synths were cool. I'm a little bit confused about the whole Della Rose thing. I'm going to see if she's actually like featured as a lead artist, because if she is, that would be just a tad bit confusing. Oh, she's not. She just has a single moment on there, huh? That's interesting. Why just the one moment? Another thing I noticed is that on Genius, it doesn't have the same information that it usually would for other artists. For other artists, it has like the background. Here's what this artist said about this song. Here's what people think this song is about. And like all these annotations, right? And for almost every single song on this, there's like nothing on here except for like the fun facts. The Q&A is usually so interesting of like, what does the song mean and what did the artist say about it? And in this, the Q&A is just like, who produced it? Who wrote it? When was this released? Which is all stuff you can just find off of Wikipedia, you know what I mean? Oh, and apparently the translation is slightly wrong too? Interesting. Yeah, I figured that would happen. There were a few times where lyrics didn't really make sense to me, and I just figured that I was like, okay, clearly it's something lost in translation that I'm not going to be able to figure out. Okay, but yeah, we did it. We listened to KLOuFRENS, Close Friends. Finally. I'm so sorry. Well, I mean, I guess you didn't have to wait for it. I just get to edit it back into the video. But it's been like a week. It's been a full week since I actually recorded my reaction to this. And it's like, I'm already almost done editing the full video. I was just like, you know what? I have to go back and like record that one song. Because for some reason, I just forgot to record it then. I could have just recorded it then, and I didn't. I don't know what I was thinking. But yeah. Back to your regularly scheduled programming. Let's go to track 11, which is called TURiSTA. Oh, this is gonna be slower? Oh, I like this. This is like really new energy. I'm not used to this from Bad Bunny. I've never heard him like yearning like this. Oh, poor guy.
Vamos a disfrutar que la noche se puso bonita.
It is interesting that he's like referencing his collaborators again. This is so cool that he's like referencing collaborators and songs on this album. I love that. Production is super interesting, and I keep saying that, but it's like, this is an incredibly diverse record, a lot more than I expected it to be. I didn't even know we were that far in. This is the problem. I can't even tell where we are. Sorry, I'll do a better job. Okay. Oh my god. All right, that was KLOuFRENS? KLúFRENS? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's like, it's so interesting to hear him sonically be so versatile. It's so cool. It's incredibly cool. Yeah, but that was a more sad track as well. Man, he's really in his feelings with this album, which is so, yeah, it's so interesting. So TURiSTA means tourist, okay. Oh, I'm into that. Wait, hold on. Hold on. We're on the wrong song. Hold on. Did I skip a song somewhere? I feel like I skipped a song. Oh, this is gonna be a problem. Oh my god, I listened to this last song thinking it was KLOuFRENS, but it was TURiSTA. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Dude, I need to like... I'm losing it, man. I'm losing it. I'm fully losing it. Okay, everything that I said about KLOuFRENS, I meant it about TURiSTA. That's what I meant it about, and I'm so sorry. I'm like losing track of the songs. Anyways, let's get into the actual next song, which is track 12, which is CAFé CON RON. See, he sang it now. It seems like he has like an entire chorus with him. So sick. Ah, that harmony is so nice. This feels cool. This feels like a community, like a neighborhood dancing together, you know? Is that what it's like in Puerto Rico? Damn. Ooh, switched it up. Different flow. Wow. Oh my god. I thought that was a trumpet. That's a synth, or like a electronic noise. Wow. Oh, having the drink sound in there was so sick. That was so cool. Okay, that was CAFé CON RON, and it incorporated, I think, what's called a plena, which is like a traditional Puerto Rican style like choir or chorus. So that was really cool. It had a lot of like really rumbling energy. You could kind of feel like the heartbeat of the neighborhood in the song, which I really appreciated. It was so cool to have like so many people singing on the song, having them going back and forth with Bad Bunny. I think that was just so well done. Ooh, man, that was a very like culturally rich song. That was so sick. It makes you feel something just listening to it, even if you can't necessarily relate to that inclination. It's like, you know, getting to feel that culture for a second is just incredible. So yeah, great song. Wow. All right, let's go to the next song, track 13, which is called PIToRRO De COCO. Apparently this was released as a single. Interesting. Oh, was that... Tell me that was not the cover. This was the cover? This is what we got? Damn, man. Why do you have to do that to himself? He's a handsome guy. Look at how he's shaped. He's like a bowling pin. Jesus. Alright, man. I'm not getting the inspiration on that album cover, but... okay. Looks like a Snapchat filter. That's crazy. Alright, let's just keep going. Yeah, this is PIToRRO De COCO, track 13. Let's go. Is it a Christmas song?
Otra Navidad en la que te pedí. Otra Navidad que no está aquí. Ni una llamada, ni un solo mensaje. Los brothers me la montan. Dicen que estoy en un viaje. Son las 12:04.
Damn.
Ya estoy bien loco.
He's having a rough New Year's, basically.
PIToRRO de coco que me trajo abuelo pa' que vacilara, no pa' que por un...
I love like the building percussion in the back. That's so cool. Rumba. Damn, man, he's a yearner.
Siempre supe que era mala, no te creas que soy ciego, nos veremos luego.
He's confident as hell. We'll meet again. Damn. Oh, no way. Damn. Oh my god, he sounded like he was crying at the end there. Damn. Great belt. Killed it. Ooh, they're shredding. Ah. Oh, the outros are always hitting. The outros are always fantastic. Alright, that was PIToRRO De COCO, which I think is coconut PIToRRO. It's like a drink. I think that's what that is. But yeah, he's yearning again, man. Bad Bunny is a yearner. I did not know this about him. I'm learning so much about Bad Bunny. This is cool. Damn, poor guy, man. Yeah, this was rough. This was about him, like, being alone at midnight on New Year's, I think. Not much more to say on that one. That was a cool one. Let's go to the next song, which is called Lo que le pasó a Hawaii. Okay, so he's in Hawaii. He's doing something with Hawaii.
Ella se ve bonita, que a veces le vaya mal. En los ojos una sonrisa, aguantándose llorar. Esa bailar son alcohol para la herida, porque hay mucho.
More somber sounding. It's like he's telling a really incredible story. And like visually, the lyricism again is so great. Wow.
De monte adentro no se puede respirar, las nubes están más cerca, con Dios se puede hablar, si oye el jíbaro llorando, otro más que
Oh, this is like a political song.
no quería irse por lando, pero el corrupto lo echó, y no se sabe hasta cuándo. Quieren quitarme el río y también la playa. Quieren el barrio mío.
Wow.
Y que
Whoa.
ahorita se vaya. No, no suelten la bandera ni olviden la lolay. Que no quiero que hagan contigo lo que le pasó a Hawaii.
Wow. So it's kind of like gentrification and getting kind of pushed out of where you live because of money and politics. Interesting. I mean, it's great to hear singers like be political like this. How often are we hearing this, you know? Wow. Especially to say it so blatantly. I feel like people don't like to talk about Hawaii like that. Americans love going to Hawaii, you know? But it's a real problem there of like being priced out by tourism. Oh, I love that it's building and like the... Oh. Whoa. See, favorite song of the whole album so far. Whoa, this was powerful. This was so cool. I mean, wow. Directly just challenging colonization, which is so important to continuously do. That's what I'm saying. This album comes at such an important time. It's so important to talk about the things that the United States is doing. You know? Like, these genius annotations are really kind of throwing me for a loop. I was aware... See, I feel like the discussions about Hawaii, I have absolutely heard more about. But I think because so many Americans perceive Puerto Rico as outside of the U.S., even though it's not, it's very much like colonized by the U.S., this isn't necessarily talked about as much, the sort of adverse effects of colonization on Puerto Rico. Being kicked out of where you live, having your land kind of taken over. Like, it's so important for this to come in song. So for that reason, I think alone, this might be my favorite song I've heard off of this album so far. And you hear the emotion, you hear the inspiration, especially with that final chorus, the way like the tension in that final chorus kind of builds and builds, and you can hear Bad Bunny kind of get more and more emotional about it. You can't help but feel the same feelings, you know? Wow. And this was so heavily influenced. This was all the different references that I feel like I had to go look up. You know? Yeah, this is just such a culturally rich album, and you can't talk about culture without bringing in politics. So I'm glad that Bad Bunny's been able to do that, and it seems like it's something that he's been doing for a while. So again, hats off to Bad Bunny. This was a fantastic song and a really important song. Favorite so far. All right, let's go to track 15, which is called EOO is what it's showing it to me as. I don't know what that means, man. But yeah, apparently this was a really big song. I recognize the title. Apparently it's been a really huge song. But it's hard to keep track of that with Bad Bunny because he's got a huge song like every month. So anyways, let's get into EOO. Oh. I do know this song. I do know this song. This was a banger. Is this about... Weirdly stripped back at this part. I wouldn't have expected that. Damn. Damn, dude, these lyrics. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Freak ass lyrics. those like middle points are kind of throwing me off a little bit.
Estás escuchando música de Puerto Rico, cabrón.
Ah, this is for me.
Criamos escuchando y cantando esto. En los caseríos, en los
That's for me. He's talking to me.
90 hasta el 2000 por siempre. Y ando con el más de todos los tiempos, Tiny. Y yo no tengo que roncar, ustedes saben ya.
Was this featuring Tiny? Let me see one. Wow. Okay, that song was... I don't know how I felt about it. I feel like there were parts of it that went super hard, and then there were parts of it that like weren't as much for me. I feel like when he would strip it back so hard, it didn't feel like the lyrics really matched that vibe. You know what I mean? But I loved the outro. I love being called out a little bit. You know what I mean? And like kind of, I love that he continues to ingrain it in home, in where he grew up. I think that's so sick. And so like even when I'm like, oh, like this song's not necessarily for me, it's very like it's something that it seems like he's thought about already, because he's very much just saying like, hey, like you're listening to music from my childhood. We grew up listening to this in the housing projects in those neighborhoods. So even if it's not something I can appreciate, it's just because I don't have that upbringing. It's got value in itself, which is so cool. And it's, yeah, again, I'm really glad I picked this album to listen to. I'm glad I did this. All right, let's go to the next track, track 16. It's the album. It's like the title track, Debí Tirar Más Fotos, which means I should have taken more photos. And I feel like Debí Tirar Más Fotos, you know, I've heard that part of the song. So I know that this has been huge. It's kind of been everywhere, and it does seem to be sort of like the crowning jewel of this album. So I'm excited to hear it full for the first time. Yeah, let's get into it.
Otros once bonitos que veo en San Juan, disfrutando de todas esas cosas que extrañan los que se van.
Okay, so immediately grounding it in Puerto Rico.
Que ya no se dan, pero queriendo volver a la última vez. Ya lo sabes.
It's a very melancholy song.
Y contarte las cosas que no te conté. ¿Te parece a mi crush? Y tirarte las fotos que no te tiré. Hacho, bro, es linda, déjame traerte una foto. Ey, tengo el pecho pelado, me dio una mata. El corazón dándome pata. Dime, baby, ¿dónde tú estás? Pa' llegarle con Roro, Julito, Cristal, Roy, Edgar, Seba, Oscar, Darnell y Big J tocando bata.
Oh, that's so special. It's like mentioning the people on like production and stuff. Ooh, new delivery.
Debí tirar más fotos de cuando te tuve. Debí darte más besos.
Yeah, this is part of I think I've heard this part of it. But it's like a love letter to his family and his people, you know, his like the people he surrounds himself with. That's sick. This part I've heard.
Hoy voy a estar con abuelo todo el día jugando dominó. Si me pregunto si aún pienso en ti, yo le digo que no. Que mi estadía cerquita de ti.
Oh, it's kind of making me sad.
Ya se terminó. Ey, que prendan las máquinas, pues pasan tú.
Can't really be sad to this kind of beat though.
Ya se da caña, chequeate la baby, diablo, mami, qué dulce. Así que vamos para la foto, vengan para acá, métase todo el mundo, todo el corillo, vamos.
I wish he had their voices on this too.
Ya Bernie tiene el nene y ya en la nena. Ya no estamos para la movie y las cadenas. Estamos para las cosas que valgan la pena. Ey, por el perreo, la salsa, la bomba y la plana. Chequéate la mía, cómo es que suena. Debí tirar más fotos de cuando te
Wow.
debí darte más besos y abrazos las veces que pude. Ojalá que lo mío nunca se mude.
Wow. I feel like I lost... Wow. That was sick at the end there. Okay. I feel like I lost energy. I felt kind of deflated at the end of that because... Not because of the song, but because it's so sad. You know what I mean? It is kind of sad. Like, he's taking advantage of the moment to appreciate what he has. But honestly, it reminded me of, like, my grandparents and my family a little bit. And, like, I'm from Pakistan, so, like, it reminded me of going back to Pakistan when my grandparents were still with us. And that feeling that he describes here, which the song is about, you know, I should have taken more photos, is such a universally devastating, like, feeling, because it's regret, and it's regret with one of the few things we don't want to feel regret about, which is the people around us. You know, making sure that we're appreciating the people we have constantly, whether it be family, whether it be the people you work with every single day, the people who support you. You know what I mean? And I think this also underscores the value of this album as well, because it's Bad Bunny singing about home, loving where he's from, being proud of where he's from, and then bringing that to us in musical form. And I think it's what reinforces the value of an album like this so much. Yeah, so I mean, I knew what the song was about going into it. I'd heard parts of it before, but that kind of like... Maybe that's my favorite song on here. I don't know. Talking about, like, his brother and his manager having children. We're here for the things that are truly worth it. For reggaeton, salsa, bomba, plena. Check out how mine sounds. It's like shouting out. It's shouting out the music. He's talking about, it's the music and the community, basically, and how those are ingrained together, you know? Talking about we're here for the things that are truly worth it. This is such a special song. I don't know. I feel like I'm not doing it justice in terms of talking about it. So I'm going to stop talking about it. But... yeah, this one made me feel something. This was a powerful one. This was a cool one. Wow. All right. It is that time. Let's get into the final track of the album, which is called La Mudanza. And I don't know what that means. Let me see if I can find out. I don't know what that means. All right. But this is the last track. So I'm hoping it kind of closes it off in a cool way. The same way the intro sort of delivered us here. I'm wondering to see how this is going to operate as a closer. Already seeing the lyrics, I'm very excited. So let's get into it.
Benito, hijo de Benito, le decían Tito, el mayor de 6, trabajando desde chamaquito, guiando
talking about himself and his life.
Aunque su sueño siempre fue ser ingeniero, un día Tonito lo invitó para hacer una mudanza, para buscar salguito, par de pesos, para algo alcanza. Gracias a Dios que ese día no estaba bici, porque en la mudanza fue donde conoció a Lizzy, la menor de 3 que se criaron con doña Juanita, porque su papá y mamá partieron estando chiquita. Prometió graduarse antes de casarse y lo cumplió, diciembre del 9-2. Con Tito se casó antes de irse para el Mirante, donde se conocieron, vivieron en Morovi, en donde hicieron al nene, que en Bayamón por primera vez vieron.
Wow.
Un aplauso para mami y papi, porque en verdad rompieron.
Oh my god, it's a love letter to his family. I'm telling you, man. Wow. I don't know the last time I heard an album that was so squarely about home, that appreciates home and family in such a beautiful way.
El mejor de la nueva porque me crié en la vieja. Gracias a mami y papi por todos los jalos en oreja. Nunca me han visto en la calle ni en los podcasts ando queja. Tratan de medir fuerza y no pueden ni en pareja. Calle sol, calle luna, estrella en la noche oscura.
So appreciative of his parents and his upbringing.
Archipiélago perfecto. En el mundo entero ya conocen mi dialecto, mi jerga. A mí me importa un bicho lo que a ti te vale verga. Aquí mataron gente por sacar la bandera. Por eso es que ahora yo la llevo donde quiera, cabrón. ¿Qué fue?
Oh, see, this is like the thesis statement almost. Because that is true. It was a law that you couldn't raise the Puerto Rican flag. A Pokemon bar? Hell yeah! That was for me. He did this for me.
Millonario sin dejar de ser del barrio, pa' que sepa. De aquí nadie me saca, de aquí yo no me muevo. Dile que esta es mi casa, donde nació mi abuelo. Yo soy de fucking
Wow. I feel like I'm not saying anything, but there's honestly nothing to say. Perfect fucking closer. Whoa. Wow. Okay. Wow. This is top 3. This has to, and I keep saying that, but this has to be top 3. This was such a cool song. Perfect closer, first of all, because it frames the album so well. Where after you've gone through this journey of understanding who Bad Bunny is, it's like this hones on exactly where he came from. You know, his parents, how he's here, Puerto Rico being his home, absolutely hones in on it. And I think the statements that he makes in here are so bold, and they need to be. One of my favorite lines in this, we're talking about how he says, "Here people were killed for raising the flag. That's why I carry it everywhere, man." Like, it's so unashamed, proud of his culture, and he gives the reason why. It's because he knows that pride is so important, that patriotism is so important. Talking about how no matter how much people try to silence the voices of minorities, the people of color, it's for that reason, for the people who came before you, the people not only who were killed, but who, the people who were killed for raising the flag, who knew they would be, but who raised it anyways. For them, it's so important that you continue to carry that forward. And so that's what he's doing here, which is, that in itself is so powerful. Him talking about sort of his legacy, hoping they never forget his face, Puerto Rico sort of being ingrained in that legacy. I think one bar that I really liked here was a millionaire without ever leaving the hood. This is more than just a flex, right? It's also, he's not just saying hey, I didn't even have to leave the house to get rich. That's not necessarily the part to focus on. What he's saying is that he's a millionaire, but he didn't leave his people behind. There are so many people who get rich and they abandon their people, okay? A lot of the stuff that he talks about with Puerto Rico reminds me of a lot of the plights of Palestine and Israel, and the way Palestine is also sort of undergoing the same thing on, you could argue, a larger scale with the genocide from the Israeli government. You know what I mean? Of having to leave their home. And I have to tell you, there are Palestinian celebrities who refuse to say a damn thing about it. Hold on, I'm gonna search this up to make sure I'm right about this. I was right. Okay, a key example that I bring up that makes this line, a millionaire without ever leaving the hood, so important, is that when it comes to Palestine, DJ Khaled is fully Palestinian. He's fully Palestinian. But the man has never said a damn thing. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit too passionate here. He's never said a damn thing about Palestine, about Gaza, about any of what's going on, standing up for his people. He's forgotten it. He's left it behind. And if you know or have heard anything about DJ Khaled, you know that man chases the charge, chases the money. That's what's most important to him. And I feel like it's so refreshing to see Bad Bunny be the exact opposite, because Bad Bunny in previous songs, he said that, we're here for what's important, which is the music and our people, so that's why this line hit me especially hard when he said a millionaire without ever leaving the hood. The point is that he's not leaving his people behind. All the money in the world, all the fame in the world, he's a legend, he's this, he's that, but what he won't do is leave his people behind. He takes his people with him. And again, it's just such an important thing to hear at a time like this. It's just so important. And then finally, this outro, no one's going to kick me out of here. I'm not going anywhere. Tell them this is my home where my grandfather was born. I don't know. I feel like I'm repeating myself at this point, but I'm seeing what everybody else is seeing, I think, finally with Bad Bunny. The culture and the history and the passion that comes with the music just makes it so much easier, so much more enjoyable, Yeah. Okay, I feel like I'm just rambling now, so I'm just gonna get it over with. That was a fantastic experience of an album. Kind of getting to like be handheld through understanding who Bad Bunny is, where he came from, what he's going through, and what's important to him. Like, I think that the title of this album is perfect, but if the title was not Debí Tirar Más Fotos, like this would be a self-titled album if I'd ever heard one, because it's incredibly autobiographical, which I appreciated, and I'm just in love with how strong the influences are and how strong his pride is, you know? I think that's what really shone through for me. So even if I don't speak Spanish and had to like read the lyrics, I'll admit, yeah, that does take away a little bit from the listening experience for me. Like, that's just me being honest. In terms of what I look for in music, it does take away from the listening experience, but what it doesn't take away from it is like the actual value. And I think that, I mean, in every layer, in the rhythm, in the production, in his delivery, in the lyricism, it's culture and history through and through. It's like, it's so clear that this is more than just an album. It's like a cultural and political statement as a whole. All I can really say is that I get why the world is obsessed with him. And if he truly does end up taking Album of the Year, it is so deserved. So deserved, because I have not heard another album like this. The only thing I can really compare this to be honest, is an artist like Beyonce and Renaissance and Cowboy Carter. And mind you, I haven't even fully heard Cowboy Carter. I'm gonna do a reaction to that at some point too, so keep an eye on that. But knowing what Cowboy Carter is about, having heard songs like American Requiem, knowing what Renaissance is about, the only thing that I can compare this fantastic album to is Beyonce. That's the only other person I've seen this kind of passion in, especially when it comes to celebrating her history, where she came from, and being so unabashed about making political and cultural statements. So yeah, I feel like I've talked myself hoarse here, and I don't even know if it's made sense. But if you've watched this far, thank you for bearing with me. I really appreciate it. This was just a fantastic listen, and I think it's those last 3 or 4 songs that really sent it home for me. Again, the Grammys have already happened when I'm talking about this, but I hope he fucking sweeps. I'm so glad. I wasn't sure if I was going to listen to this album. I originally had planned for a different album today. I was planning on like a Lady Gaga album, like going back into, you know, an artist that I do already love. And I decided to go with this just because I was like, you know what, there's the Grammys tomorrow for me, and then there's the Super Bowl next week. If I'm going to be making predictions, if I'm going to be talking about the music, I want to know what the hell I'm talking about. And so even if Latin music's not my thing, I'm going to listen to it. And I'm so glad that I did. Yeah, wow. But like I said, thank you so much for sticking with me throughout this video. Classic sign-off stuff. You know, if you enjoyed the video, throw it a like. If you want to see more like this, make sure you subscribe. Comment down below how you felt about this album and how it hit for you, if you're someone who is new to Latin music as well. And let me know what you would want me to check out next. I'm like drained, man. I'm so sorry if I'm not like smiley enough. I'm like hyper aware of that. But yeah, thank you so much for checking out this video, and I'll see you next time.